Lysenko, who's a spokesperson of Analytical Center of National Security and Defense Council, Ukraine. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Next week, it is planned to organize some steps to renovate real control of the situation on Ukrainian-Russian border. Those steps are a result of agreements achieved in Milan. The president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, told in the interview to leading TV channels of Ukraine. In particular, it is planned that at the beginning of the next week there will be a meeting between leaders of border guards of Russia and Ukraine, and they will discuss technical issues, how to renovate border crossing points on the border. And Ukrainian border guards and custom officers must return back to control movement of cargoes and people. It is planned that by the end of the next week we'll renovate the work of Izvarana border crossing point. Also, the president of Ukraine underlined that during the meeting in Milan, European leaders demonstrated their full support to Ukraine. At present, there is a clear position that without real progress and stable peace and the implementation of the points of Minsk memorandum, issue about canceling sanctions against Russia will not be discussed. The European Union discussed that there is unity in EU and solidarity with Ukraine. One of the main steps to implement Minsk agreements is ceasefire and establishing peace as a precondition of pulling back heavy armed vehicles and building a buffer zone. President of Ukraine told that there is an agreement on location about at 15 points monitoring groups of OSCE, and they will observe the situation and with a system counter battery battle. This system allow to monitor from where the shooting is coming or shelling is coming. And the head of the state told that all participants of negotiations in Milan underline the importance of the realization of all the paragraphs of ceasefire plan or peace plan in Luhansk and Lugansk region, and all elections should be done according to Ukrainian law. All fake elections on November 2 or on any other date without ceasefire, without international monitors, cannot be and will not be recognized by any participant of consultations. The situation in ATO area, the situation around the 32nd block post near Smil is under full control of Ukrainian armed forces. The Minister of Defense, Stepan Poltorak, reported to the President of Ukraine that for neutralizing the threat to that block post, there was a battle, and they destroyed one tank of the enemy, and there are heavy losses among gunmen. Ukrainian armed forces didn't lose anyone. And earlier, 2 our military men were wounded, and they received medical assistance. At the block post, they delivered water, food, enough of food, and full ammunition and everything necessary for their life. And also there is a support, and they will allow to hold the position in case there is a repeated attack of gunmen. Now there are measures to destroy groups or terrorist groups in the near-end districts. Also, they build additional positions, engineering, constructions. So the morale is very high among the military men, and they are ready to stay there. Terrorists were active in several areas of ATO. They had an unsuccessful attack against airport in Donetsk, and they had to move back, to pull back. with losses. Near Mykolaiv, Tonenka, Bakhmutivka, positions of our armed forces were shelled by gunmen using Grad system. Also, they used mortars against Avdiivka, shelled with mortars, and on the border where Ukrainian border guards are controlling that area, there were no fights. Near Sartana, they noticed one drone moving from Mariupol to Komentarno. The situation in Mariupol is calm and under control. During the last day, we didn't lose any soldier. 13 were wounded. At 1 o'clock on Sofievska Square in Kiev, cadets from Azov battalion, they will depart to ATO. They will sew together with the National Guards of Ukraine, and they will hold their position at a blog post. And now there is an organizing procedure of joining Azov battalion with National Guards. As for the situation in settlements and towns, the biggest threat on the territories under control of terrorists comes from clashes between different gangs of gunmen. Also, they shell living quarters. In Donetsk, all afternoon and at night, terrorists will shell in the city. As a result, four civilians died and 9 were wounded. In the morning, the situation in Donetsk is quite tense because of artillery shelling. Some buildings suffered. One facility of the factory was also damaged, and also gas lines were damaged, and utility services they organize repairing work. In unliberated territories, life is getting to normal. Yesterday in Slavyansk, there was a concert of local children folk groups. They organized a number of concerts to support morale of Ukrainian armed forces during the recreation. Today, at the main square, there will be a concert of academic folk group of National Guards of Ukraine for local people and for refugees or IDPs from occupied territories. John Kirby, spokesman of Pentagon, told that the U.S. believes that it's necessary to prepare for potential danger, potential threat from Russia. He told the strategic environment is quite dynamic and uncertain. That uncertainty is caused by the fact that what Putin does in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine. President of France, François Hollande, told that there is a process in establishing control over Ukrainian-Russian border, and in ceasefire, France and Germany decided to provide drones and other means to support OSCE mission, which is very important, and they will participate in the process of monitoring the border. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania, Linas Vinkevičius, speaking about the crisis in Ukraine, he told that it's necessary to strengthen the pressure on Russia through broader sanctions and at the same time to provide more assistance to the Ukrainian government. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Australia, Julie Bishop, told that the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, agreed to influence on pro-Russian militants in Donbass and then to continue investigation of accident with MH17. She told about the meeting with Russian president. She told, I asked him to use the influence of Russian separatists in the east of Ukraine to provide our investigators an access to the accident site. Vladimir Putin told that Russia has influence on separatists, and he promised to put efforts in order to satisfy my request. Thank you very much. Your questions, please. Any question? Okay. Then, thank you very much. Thank you very much.